people. Visit Kasama through your gateway to possibilities. That's right, Kasama Airport has been upgraded and is now open and ready to welcome you with open arms. Contact the airline of your choice to book your next trip into the region. Zambia Airports Corporation Limited. Keep flying.
This News Bulletin is sponsored by the Public Service Pensions Fund, PSPF.
Keeping the pension promise.
Here is a public notice from the Public Service Pensions Fund, PSPF. The Public Service Pensions Fund, PSPF, is reminding all pensioners and surviving spouses to deceased pensioners who are required to complete life certificate forms and have not yet done so to complete the forms by the 31st of December 2023, failure to which they will be removed from the monthly payroll. Kindly note that the forms can be obtained from PayPoints or branches where payees hold accounts and from PSPF decentralized offices across the country. All duly completed forms should be left with the respective PayPoints or decentralized offices. In Lusaka, we are at Public Service Pensions House, Sapela Road off Kailo Road, and in Indola at plot number 9 Chishinko Road. This exercise does not apply to all pensioners and surviving spouses to deceased pensioners who completed and submitted the life certificates starting August 2022. Administrators and guardians or custodians of children who are below 18 years are also exempted. For more information, contact us on our call center line +260 6300 20101.
Public Service Pensions Fund, reaching you in all 10 provinces of Zambia. PSPF, keeping the pension promise.
The Happy World of 5FM Radio, your adult contemporary radio station in Zambia, connecting you to the newsmakers and events that make news in the global village.
And now, the main news bulletin. This is Grace Musimuko.
Good afternoon. This is 5FM Main News. The headlines. Stakeholders call on Lands Minister Elijah Muchima to retract his statement on land allocation. Emmanuel Mwamba defends former President Lungu's decision to challenge the withdrawal of his benefits in court. Manual vote count underway in DR Congo capital. This bulletin is also streaming live on our Facebook page, 5FM Radio Zambia. Transparency International Zambia has called on Lands and Natural Resources Minister Elijah Muchima to retract his statement in which he indicated that the government will prioritize UPND members in land allocation, citing their alleged marginalization under the previous Patriotic Front regime. TIZ Executive Director Maurice Nyambe has advised the minister to publicly commit to supporting a land allocation system that will not promote divisive tendencies along partisan lines. Mr. Nyambe says the UPND should resist the normalization of divisive practices and hold the principles of impartiality and equal opportunity in the allocation of this vital resource. He has since urged the Ministry of Lands to instead adhere to established procedures for land allocation that ensure equitable access for all citizens. Mr. Nyambe has reminded the UPND administration that what was wrong under the previous regime is still wrong now. Hence, there is no justification for continuing whatever anomalies were taking place, as two wrongs do not make a right.
As said, we strongly condemn the aforementioned statement, and we urge the Ministry of Lands and Natural Resources to adhere religiously to established procedures for land allocation that ensure equitable access for all citizens. As a ruling party, the UPND should resist the normalization of divisive practices and uphold the principles of impartiality and equal opportunity in the allocation of this very vital resource.
Meanwhile, the Zambia Land Alliance has re-echoed the need for Minister of Lands and Natural Resources to retract his story, prioritizing UPND members in land allocation. Alliance Executive Director Patrick Musole tells 5FM News that the statement is not only discriminatory and partisan, but also unsuitable for a national leader or a government official. Mr. Musole has reminded Dr. is not a minister for the UPND members only, but the entire nation, hence the need for him to be mindful of his statements.
For him to make such a statement, in that statement, it is because it is discriminatory, it is partisan, and it does not show the fatherhood that he's supposed to exhibit as a government official. He's not minister for UPND. He's actually minister for the country, which includes all of us. And I think we would expect that the minister would measure his word. And I think we've called upon the minister to retract that statement.
Opposition Patriotic Front Chairperson for Information and Publicity, Emmanuel Mwamba, has defended former President Edgar Lungu's decision to challenge the withdrawal of his benefits in court, saying this will not only affect him, but other former presidents in future. Speaking when he featured on the 5FM's Thursday edition of the Burning Issue program, Mr. Mwamba said he supports Mr. Lungu's decision because the former head of state is entitled to his or her benefits regardless of whether he is in active politics or not. He insists that Mr. Lungu is entitled to his benefits by virtue of being a former president who rendered a service to the nation. Meanwhile, Mr. Mwamba has rejected claims suggesting that the former president's decisions are influenced by some members of the PF, saying this is unfair because the statement is untrue.
The purpose of that court action is something I support. A former president gets his benefits not because he's in politics or he's not in politics. He is entitled to those benefits because he's a former president. He has worked. Wadifibombela. That's the purpose of those benefits. Adifibombela, in short, in ordinary parlance. Yeah. Not necessarily in arrears. It's in perpetuity. You are supposed to pay it until he dies. That's what the law says. So the amendment that was done in 1998 was very malicious. It was targeted at forcing Dr. Kaunda to retire.
The International Monetary Fund, IMF Executive Board, has completed the second review of the extended credit facility for Zambia. This has resulted in the disbursement of approximately 187 billion United States dollars. This is the second successful review